One of YouTube's biggest gaming creators, Lazarbeam, announces his very own video game. The hype is insane. Fans are convinced this could be the next Fortnite, a game so big it could change the industry. But instead of a smash hit, it flopped. Hard. People were excited. The trailers looked promising. Lazarbeam and his longtime friend Mr. Fresh Asian were hyping it up, saying they had been working on it for a year. Even Australia's biggest game developer, Playside Studios, was behind it. Everything seemed perfect. But when the game finally launched, reality hit like a brick wall. The game struggled to reach 1,000 concurrent players. Reviews poured in, calling it a laggy mess, a boring experience, and even the worst game I have installed. Within months, the player base dropped to almost nothing, leaving the servers filled with nothing but bots. So, what went wrong? How did a game backed by millions of fans crash and burn so quickly? Today, we're diving deep into the unexpected flop of Lazarbeam's video game, from its promising start to its shocking downfall. The build-up, high expectations, and early promotion. Lazarbeam is one of YouTube's biggest gaming creators, known for his hilarious Fortnite content and larger-than-life personality. So when he announced he was making a video game, fans went wild. It all started with a simple tweet. "Here I am making a game. I ain't telling you anything yet. The most liked response gets a skin in the game. Wishlist the game on Steam so you can test it with us." This was a genius move. It got fans talking, engaging, and spreading hype before anyone even knew what the game was about. Shortly after, Mr. Fresh Asian, another massive YouTuber and Lazarbeam's longtime friend, posted a short teaser trailer. The graphics looked similar to Fortnite, which made sense considering their audience. Then came the big reveal. The game was called World Boss, and it was being developed by Playside Studios, Australia's largest video game developer. This wasn't just a YouTuber's side project. This was a full-fledged professional game backed by a real development team. Fans were ecstatic. The screenshots and trailers showed bright, colorful visuals, fast-paced combat, and a unique battle system. The game concept and initial reception on paper, World Boss sounded like a dream game for fans of Lazarbeam and Mr. Fresh Asian. It combined elements from some of the most popular shooters, Fortnite, Team Fortress 2, and Call of Duty, but with a unique twist. The game was a fast-paced online arena shooter where players dropped into a battlefield and had to eliminate others to level up. The ultimate goal? Becoming the World Boss, a title that granted extra health, armor, and power. But there was a catch. Once you became the World Boss, everyone in the game knew your location, making survival even harder. The concept was simple, yet exciting. The idea of an evolving power system where you climbed the ranks and fought to stay on top had serious potential. It was different from battle royales like Fortnite, which relied on a shrinking map, and different from Call of Duty, which focused on traditional team deathmatches. From the moment Lazarbeam and Fresh started teasing the game, fans were all in. The trailer showcased colorful, Fortnite-style graphics, over-the-top action, and fast movement. It was the kind of game you could jump into and have fun right away. No long learning curve, just chaos and competition. The harsh reality. Performance issues and bugs. The excitement for World Boss quickly turned into frustration once players got their hands on the game. Instead of a smooth, polished shooter, players were met with a buggy, laggy mess. From the moment it launched, World Boss struggled with performance issues. Even players with high-end gaming PCs complained about terrible FPS drops and constant crashes. One player described the game as feeling like a laggy Roblox Fortnite clone, saying they could barely run 45 FPS on an RTX 3080. Another player with an RTX 2080 reported that even on low settings, they were stuck at 40 to 60 FPS, making the game nearly unplayable. The worst issue, however, was the frequent crashing. Many players found themselves unable to complete a full match without the game suddenly shutting down. This led to overwhelming frustration, and as a result, Steam reviews were filled with negative feedback. Instead of glowing praise, World Boss was bombarded with complaints about its technical state. Many players felt that the game had launched too early and wasn't ready for public release. Some called it a broken mess, while others expressed disappointment, saying they wanted to love the game but simply couldn't due to its technical issues. The developers at Playside Studios quickly worked to patch the game, addressing major crashes and improving optimization. Lazarbeam himself acknowledged the issues, admitting that the mixed Steam reviews were largely due to the crashes. He reassured fans that they had fixed the major problems, but by then, the damage was already done. Players had already started leaving, and even after updates, World Boss never fully recovered. The game's biggest problem still remained: its lack of engaging gameplay. And with a shrinking player base, those issues would only become more obvious. Despite having millions of fans and a massive online presence, Lazarbeam and Fresh's promotional strategies weren't enough to save World Boss. At first, everything seemed to be going well. Fresh uploaded 2 dedicated videos about the game, racking up over 3 million views, while Lazarbeam filmed gameplay and officially promoted the release. With nearly 10 million people learning about the game through their combined reach, it seemed destined for success. But something was missing. One major issue was Fresh's long absence from YouTube. Before World Boss, he had been inactive for months, and his sudden return only to promote the game felt off to many fans. Instead of building consistent hype over time, his audience was met with a video that seemed more like an advertisement than genuine excitement. This lack of an organic lead-up meant that even with millions of views, the game's promotion didn't translate into long-term engagement. There was also skepticism from the gaming community. Some fans questioned whether the game had enough depth to survive in a competitive market filled with powerhouse titles like Fortnite, Call of Duty, and Apex Legends. The lack of sustained marketing after the launch hurt even more. Lazarbeam and Fresh made their initial push, but after that, things went quiet. Without regular content keeping the game in the spotlight, interest faded fast. Even when the developers rolled out patches and updates, there wasn't a major effort to reignite excitement. Unlike successful game launches that maintain momentum through continuous marketing, influencer streams, and collaborations, World Boss felt like a game that was thrown into the world and left to survive on its own. Unfortunately, it couldn't. The game's player base started shrinking fast, and soon the problems only got worse. What started as a highly anticipated release quickly turned into a game on life support. During its launch, World Boss peaked at just over 1,000 concurrent players, far below expectations for a game backed by 2 of YouTube's biggest gaming creators. The following month, that number dropped to 800. By the 3rd month, it had fallen to 300. As the player count dwindled, the game struggled to maintain active lobbies, and soon, matches were filled with bots instead of real people. With engagement plummeting, Playside Studios began to feel the impact financially. In their annual report, they revealed a $5.7 million loss, stating that some of their games had failed to generate the expected level of player engagement. Although they didn't name World Boss directly, it was clear that the game had not been the success they had hoped for. Seeing no viable path forward, Playside made the decision to abandon updates for the game entirely. The moment development stopped, World Boss became a ghost town. The game's official Twitter and Instagram accounts went silent. Lazarbeam and Fresh stopped mentioning it altogether. Without any updates or new content, the remaining players had no reason to stay, and soon, there were barely enough people online to fill a single lobby. Those who did manage to get into a match found themselves surrounded by nothing but bots, making the game feel empty and lifeless. By this point, it was clear that World Boss was beyond saving. A game that had once been hyped as the next Fortnite had collapsed under the weight of its own issues. The question remained, could it have been prevented? Or was World Boss doomed from the start? World Boss had everything going for it: hype, big-name creators, and a professional development team. But technical issues, lack of depth, and weak post-launch marketing led to its downfall. In the end, even millions of fans couldn't save it. Do you think World Boss could have been a success with better execution? Let us know in the comments.